you. And I can see cloud recording is on.
Are we on?
Yes.
We're on. Well, good afternoon. This is Joe Paulo, and this is the New Canaan Charter Revision Commission Group 1 regular weekly meeting. I'd like to start by roll call. Commissioner Chase.
Steve Case is here.
Case, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Case. Commissioner Jameson.
Present.
Commissioner LaBrisse. Here. And I'm Commissioner Joe Paulo, present. I'd like to ask that we.
And also, Chair Corbett
On Chair Corbett.
is also present.
Chair Corbett, thank you. Moving to item 2, the review of the draft minutes for the previous meeting. Steve.
Yes, I should have made copies. Do you have copies?
I haven't read them, and I know.
There's one issue I know that you noted,
Right.
and the others have a copy that I can share with them. So you want me to walk through it, or
Just one sentence, I think that we need to add.
okay? What is
The
that?
one sentence was that we, with the parking commission, discussed article, chapter 8 of article 13, which had to do with the necessary ordinance to empower the commission to hear appeals. We discussed that topic.
The ordinance, because that gets into going to have discussions with them about whether it should be in our charter.
I'm just saying, I'm just noting that we actually did it. We actually had the discussion.
Oh,
Not saying that we decided anything. I'm
Okay.
saying that we covered that topic.
Well, it is in there. If you look under E, the third bullet point, discussion points, whether to remove if authorised by ordinance or locate/create the missing ordinance. So it does.
Okay. If that's there, that's good. Okay, you're good. That's right.
Actually, not on minutes, so when you get past minutes, I wanna talk to you about the parking commission.
Yes,
Okay.
we're on
It's on
parking,
your chart, yeah.
we're on parking commission now within the minutes, so I
Yeah.
think, if we want to, you just.
I'll wait till you finish.
So, can I have a motion to?
Could I-
approve that?
Could I just say before we vote on the minutes, I believe they were posted to the public packet, the draft minutes.
yes.
We should post draft minutes really to the minutes section of the website. Doesn't matter
Okay.
because it doesn't matter if we kind of don't do it once in a while, but the final version should
Needs to
definitely
be
go with
posted.
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the minutes.
And what I did was
Yes.
the packet includes the discussion of the Board of Ed and, okay, I'm
No.
learning.
No, don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's a little thing.
Okay,
Okay, can I have a motion to approve minutes?
I move
Thank you.
approval.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye, minutes are approved. Before we move beyond the minutes, since we were discussing the parking commission. Would you like to go?
I wish I actually had some in front of me, but I wanted to tell you, I went back and I have sections for each of the articles. And I have one on the parking commission from 10 years ago, and I know you wanna know the source of that change, and so that was actually Judge Kimes who actually ran that piece of it. And so I have a lot of good data, I just don't have it readily available
Okay.
for you, so I just wanna.
Very interesting.
I think we're gonna solve some mysteries for you by looking
Can I
at
bring
that
up-
data.
My correspondence to you at this point?
I mean, pardon?
Can I bring up my email to you?
Yes,
Yes.
did you just send me something?
I wrote, I copied everybody on it, that's not great.
Oh,
And
yes.
suggested that since we have, I think, reached agreement that there is no ordinance. Much as we'd like to have one, they didn't know where one was, I couldn't find it, nobody else could find it. So it doesn't seem to exist. I went back and I looked again today, doing all different kinds of keyword searches and nothing came up. So we now know a couple of facts. We know that an ordinance is needed. We know that one doesn't exist, and we know they're actively hearing appeals. So there's a dysynchronous part. I went to the New Canaanite and I typed in keywords, parking appeals, and 181 stories came up. So it's an active event, and I think we have an obligation, I feel there's an obligation to alert the town council outside of our normal development process. And let them have the information, if they choose to act on it, what's great, if they choose not to, that's their decision. But I think we should advance the information, otherwise, I feel we would be taking on I'll use the word responsibility for letting the synchronous process go on. Yeah.
A question for you, and just for clarity purposes. So if I got a ticket and I wanted to appeal it, and I go to the commission and let's say they said, no, sorry, you owe $30.
Right.
Is the reference that we currently see in the last line of the parking commission addressing any ability to appeal that finding?
It specifically says appeals, citation appeals.
Right, so my question is, can you appeal the
Appeal.
finding of
Beyond that.
the parking commission? And that's what I was curious as to whether or not. So let's say the parking commission says, no, Kathleen, you owe $30. Okay, can I appeal that above the parking commission?
The way, well, if there was an ordinance, the ordinance might provide that.
So just read that line back.
This is the exact word.
Yeah,
It's the parking commission shall, colon.
Yeah.
And then it's a here parking citation appeals if authorized by ordinance. And the issue for us is that there is no ordinance
Yeah.
authorized. Now, your point, I think, is very valid, is when they write the ordinance, if they want to put in a super appeals process where you go to the first selectman or you go to the town council, you go somewhere.
that's what I was.
But as of
Because that was the intention, as written, I understand.
as written, it's one bite out of the apple. It's one appeal.
Is there any other commission like this where they have the authority to fine? Like the planning and zoning, could they fine, and is there a?
There's something in the sewers, I think.
Is there-
The inland wetlands.
Inland wetland.
But it's usually the director of inland wetlands that handles that.
Yeah.
And that's actually in the inland wetlands regulations, which is legislation.
And that's outside of our chart, yeah, and the
It's
ordinance.
outside of the charter and the ordinance.
And the parking commission does not have the authority to fine. They only have the authority to hear the appeal. The parking department presents the fine. They actually issue the tickets.
I will get into this and be knowledgeable about it, so.
But it's a very simple, it's a
Yeah.
very simple point. And I suggested to Kathleen, everyone saw the email, that we advance this information to the town council, and which I think gets that off of our plate. And then they have the responsibility to
Well,
react to it or not react.
can I react to that? Is this more important than anything else that
No.
we're advancing, we will be advancing to the town council? Because there's gonna be a lot.
It's not important in terms of gravity, it's important in terms of timing, because they are actively hearing appeals to which they don't have the authority.
Well, they have been doing that for 10 years.
I understand.
So a few more months,
Excuse me?
few more months.
No, just the opposite.
When did the parking commission come into existence? More than 10 years.
So it was part, as I remember, and I have to go back further, that I believe they were part of the police commission. And back in maybe 2005, it was taken out of the police commission to have its own, as we talked about. that.
That's the appeal, it's an appellate court.
The commission, yeah.
Yes, it's an
Yeah.
appellate, I mean,
Yeah.
they really have very little authority because the police retains all of that. They do have they do set rates for parking, subscription lots.
Yeah.
But they don't have any authority on the street. And if somebody gets a ticket, it can be issued by almost anybody. Then that is the appeals process. You go to the
You go with the
parking commission and you say, oh, I shouldn't have this because of this X,
I mean,
Y.
that's what they do, that is their role.
They said yes or no, and if it's no, you owe the town, and that's it, that's the end of
The parking commission needs an ordinance to have that authority. And even though they've been doing it for 10 years, I think the flip side is truer, that someone could say, class action, we want to mow that from when you
But
don't
in
know
the charter, it says that they exist and that their function is to hear appeals.
I mean, that's
If
the primary
right,
function. That's the primary function.
if provided by ordinance, is a qualifier.
Again, if you'd be kind enough just to let me go back and pull up all the data from 10 years ago on this particular topic, because I'm sure it was discussed in detail, and I'd like to just share it with you, and I take your point, and I let's say it was mistakenly done that way.
Well, it
By all
is,
means,
yeah.
take it up with town council and, you know, good luck seeing it next September, you know, I
That's
they've
their-
got,
that's their-
they've got a lot of things on
that-
their plate too, and I
That's their
think it's,
decision, but
yeah,
to relieve us of the responsibility,
I don't think
we're
it's,
sitting
yeah.
under the synchronous part.
I understand the point, but just my opinion, we're gonna find lots of little things, and I consider this just a
Well,
tying of the knot.
I read it differently.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I would also say the parking commission should take it up with town council if they wanna
Yeah.
change that.
Yeah, only up to them.
No, it's up to us.
No, because it's in the charter, the charter is clear.
What is it?
If authorized by ordinance,
No, well, we're not responsible for writing ordinance.
so the charter commission should be here,
Well, actually, I think we would be stepping on the toes of the parking commission if we were to, you know, go and present this today, tomorrow to town council. Maybe we should be encouraging the parking commission
which,
to think about this more closely and decide on an appropriate course of action.
I have a solution. I'd like to have a motion as to how we should proceed, seconded and then we vote. Okay, fair enough? Do I have a motion that we should advance this to the town council?
Why don't you make the motion?
I make the motion that we advance the information that we have to the town council. Would anybody like to second? Being no second, the motion fails. Go ahead, Bert.
no, and I take your point.
Why don't you take it to the parking commission?
Yeah, and that's where, on the parking.
They were here with us and we asked them if they had, they said, no, we don't have the authority.
They don't have the authority to hear appeals,
They don't have an ordinance that gives them the authority to hear the appeals.
but they do it, yeah, they do it.
And the decision there was, to me,
I have to be honest, I find this a very distinctive piece of information that they are acting in the, I don't want to say in violation of the charter, I'm not sure, there's probably a kinder word, but the ordinance, there's clear statement here, an ordinance is required, no ordinance exists, therefore it's an issue.
now, if I go back to where we were, the takeaway was,
Did you look to see if there was an ordinance prior in a police ordinance that was not that wasn't taken over by the parking commissions? The parking commission came into existence 20 years ago.
But this is the charter, it supersedes everything that comes before us, even if that was true, I don't know if it is or it isn't. Even if that was true, this is what was proof.
But Joe, just think of this possible scenario that there is an ordinance that relates to the power of the police commission to hear parking citation appeals, and it's phrased such that it is that the police commission or successor agency is hereby authorized, in which case it would cover the parking.
We're not talking about the police commission, we're talking about.
No, but I'm
But the
saying
ordinance,
there might be an ordinance that actually provides authorization for the successor agency in this area. To the police commission.
If you have that presented, I have not seen that.
The funny thing was that this hearing of citation was added the last time around. So
Yes. And that's why, if you, with all, with your
But-
permission, I would like to get the data
Let's
that
look at-
supported that, and I have it, I do have it, so there's
But-
several documents.
But how could any data
I don't know, let's
supersede
look at it,
what's here? I do,
yeah, let's look at
How-
it.
well, maybe they addressed the issue of this one, but we just don't know about it. Or or it was recommended something be done and now
I'm willing,
nothing for 10 years.
it's certainly true to say we haven't been able to find it. Okay, and with exhaustive looking. How long should will we agree to wait and conduct the retrospective review
How about tomorrow morning?
tomorrow morning?
Having my dinner with my husband and celebrating my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
We have a motion
It's
that
this
this.
weekend. Joe, I don't think that there's going to be in the next 24 hours, somebody pressing a button.
I'm agreeing.
I hope not, someone's going to like appeal all the appeals.
I'm agreeing with your
Yeah.
suggestion.
In the minutes that we just approved, the takeaway, the action steps were for me to meet with Tucker, Kevin, and the parking commission to draft streamlined clarifying language for the Article 13. So if somebody were to challenge it, it's a work in progress. We're doing it in the minutes already approved. I just think it's gonna get, and this was the issue. They asked to meet next Tuesday and I'm just buried on something. So the Tuesday after that,
It's not
It-
for a
but-
long fire.
for our purposes, they wanted to meet at 5:30 on a Wednesday. And this commission, this group one on Wednesday, the following Wednesday, would typically meet till around 6 o'clock. And we have a hard stop at 5:30,
Oh, sure.
so I can go to the parking commission.
Just to summarize what we're agreeing to,
Sorry,
Kathleen will provide some new information sometime tomorrow. Reasonable.
whenever.
And then how will we,
I'm going to follow up with Tucker, the parking commission, the parking department.
you're,
And come back with draft proposed languages on Article 13 and their comments about what are the required ordinances.
then I suggest we move forward to the next order of business. The charter review proposed changes to Article 7 Board of Education.
And that was in my materials also. I think we all remember that I probably tried to do more than I should in the last draft. And I sent out a red line version and there's one sentence and one change in this. So, and I am so sorry I didn't bring copies. The sentence that I'm proposing adding is the duties of the Board of Education are codified and amended in their bylaws separate from this charter. Because we talk about duties in our charter, but we don't have anything. We're clarifying where their duties are found.
So that you put that in 7-1.
7-1, where it calls out, we're showing their duties.
And has the sentence relating to the state
Yes,
policies.
the only change I'm making in C 7-4 is going from 90 to 30 days.
So we're not including the state policies and procedures.
Nothing to do with it. We're leaving it out altogether because the discussion was those been changed.
May I throw out a suggestion? And it seems to me that the duties of the Board of Ed are codified not only in their bylaws but under state statute. So I wonder if we could just add something to the first sentence of this particular section, which basically says the Board of Ed shall continue to exercise all of the powers, perform all of the duties conferred or imposed upon boards of education in towns by the general statutes, comma, as well as the Board of Ed's own bylaws.
Well, yes, because you're addressing duties twice, so that's just. I see what you're doing, it just shortens it a bit.
It shortens it, but
Okay.
also it reflects the fact that quite a lot of those duties are actually set out in the state statute. They may be repeated in the bylaws or they may not be.
Sure, and just cut out the red.
And just move that part.
Yes.
And their bylaws.
Yeah, and their bylaws.
And just
Yeah. shorter than what I suggested, so just add to that first sentence after general statutes. And,
As well as the
It's-
Board of Education's own bylaws, period.
yeah, and
Done.
final.
Or just say, and the bylaws of the Board of Education.
Okay.
Yeah.
Steve, you have
Own bylaws.
a communication from Dr. Lutzy where he asked the reason why we were making these changes, and he responded.
Yeah, I have not responded to anyone yet. Dr. Lutzy and the chair of the Board of Ed, and I'm forgetting his name right now. I'll remember it in a second.
Phil Hogan.
Well,
Phil Hogan. I went back and forth with both of them. Initially, when we talked about going to them, but I have not since we've started this. So,
Well, to me, the reason is that it provides a nice signpost
Yeah.
to anybody who's interested in the powers and duties of the Board of Ed. Here's where you have to look, general statutes and the Board of Ed's own bylaws.
perfect.
Yeah,
That's the reason for
and
my.
then the 30 days was their own request.
Yes.
And it just lines everything up, so that's fine, I'm okay.
Okay, fine. Should I go back to them and say, here's how we've shortened things? Do you?
No, none of that business. That's fine.
Okay.
It's our business.
I was,
So is the
I would
intent,
send it to him and I.
Yeah,
I'd
it's fine.
ask him.
Yeah, well, you-
Send it to him.
last time you sent it to him, you got back, well, why are they doing all this?
No. Okay.
so is,
So Kathleen, you would send it to him?
Sure, of course. Absolutely.
All right, send it
It's,
to him.
it's their charter as well.
is the next step that you'll have a clean copy for us to review at the next meeting?
Absolutely.
One of these days, we'll get the vote on it.
Why
Why don't you vote on it?
don't we vote on it now?
I'd like to see a clean copy.
Well, we could put it into, have you got a Word document?
I don't have it
No.
with me, so.
When we voted on Article 1, we as a team agreed to constantly refine it and have a clean red line copy, which I produced.
Right,
I
but we
think the same
also
thing.
approved it before we're actually finished talking about the seal.
Well, we had that caveat. That was
Yeah.
a clear caveat.
Yeah,
And actually, we approved it with the expectation that there might be an approval or some additional information, but we approved a clean copy, and
Yeah,
we have a clean copy.
not with the edits that we just suggested. But I can pass mine around with my writing if you want. Do you want me to read
What,
it?
is there a reason why waiting till next week to approve it would be an issue?
Only because I'd like to, and I think I got everybody's response, I don't know if I can show here, whether next Tuesday works, I'd like to have people, groups advancing, even if you don't have to vote necessarily on any of this, it's up to you, but to advance the work that's been done so that the full commission has the benefit of starting to get some of these things
Yeah,
into the.
I just haven't seen a clean copy to think, well, we're in the middle of the meeting.
yeah, I know.
but it's like, it's 3-4 additional words. It's basically saying what was in the red line version.
Is that all it is, just the 3 or 4 words?
That's what
Yeah.
you said.
Yeah, it's the first sentence, if you want me to read it.
Please.
No.
The Board of Education, consisting of 9 members, shall continue to exercise all the powers and perform all the duties conferred or imposed upon boards of education in towns by general statutes. That's all in there now. And then the addition would be, and the Board of Education's own bylaws.
That's all in there now.
That will be, and the Board of Education's own bylaws is the
Is
addition.
what you added.
Yes.
And then you're adding something on 30 days.
We're changing 90 days from the C7-4 to 30 days.
Okay.
That was in the red line version.
That was, yes,
Okay. Then let's have a motion.
I'll make a motion. Can I make a
Yes,
motion?
you can, it's your thing.
I'll make a motion to approve the suggestion to move on to the full board, the Board of Education's bylaws, as I just read them.
Second,
All in favor?
all
Um,
right, done.
Okay, I'll send this to you, and I'm in a route from hell work next week, And I have a meeting with lawyers scheduled till 6 o'clock on Tuesday.
Okay.
And I don't know if it'll end early, but I can join via Zoom
Of course.
as soon as that's over. And I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry, nothing to be sorry for.
Yeah.
No, that's, we respect everybody has something going on.
Moving on, charter review proposed changes to Article 10 inland wetlands commission.
Okay, so after hearing from the Inland Wetlands Commission, we have taken under advisement their request to extend their term of regular members from 2 to 4 years. We have let's see, I pulled up the language a little bit that said the selectmen shall annually on or promptly after the first day of December appoint 3 or 4 regular members. Well, let's just pick one. And I said 4 regular members of the inland wetlands who have their qualifications to hold the office for a term of 4 years. From the date of for the first day of December until reappointment of their successors have been appointed and shall be qualified. Next sentence. On or promptly after the first day of December in the odd numbered years, the selectmen shall appoint 3 remaining regular members. So now it's clear when the 4 and the 3 need to be.
I think that there may be an issue if we're going from 2 years to 4 years. Let's start with the 7 regular members. The whole idea has been to have staggered terms so that, you know,
2 staggered terms.
so, but then you have 2 years where nothing is happening.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what Board of Ed does. They get 2 years where it's peace. And they can just move ahead and do their work.
Whenever someone completes their
Yeah.
current 2 years. And if they were to stay, they were to be approved, they would then take on a 4-year term.
Yeah.
That's
Now, if you prefer, we could write 2, 2, and 3.
Well, maybe that's not necessary, but what I would say is we've got a bit of an issue in that only the 2 newest members to the inland wetlands actually have a current term. The rest of us, so that is 10 people altogether. The remaining 8, we're all continuing to serve because the charter provides that we continue to serve until we are either reappointed or a successor is named. So, for example, there are a couple which, according to Pam Flynn's list, their term expired on the 1st of December 2023. 23.
And you can't find anybody to replace you.
It's not that the people want to go off, it's that there hasn't been the reappointment process.
Well,
That's-
then the town council is not.
It's not
The selectmen
town
isn't doing their job. They should.
Well, this isn't the only commission where this happens, and I think actually moving from terms of 2 years or 3 years to something like 4 will help some of the bureaucratic burden that this is clearly putting on the first selectman's office. They've got a lot of, higher priority issues to deal with, but it's not great because you don't know if you're going to be reappointed or
Right.
not.
Well, that should be done. I mean, that's just administrative.
6 months.
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just.
Well, 23, 2 years, yeah.
You know, what we could do in here is we put language in somewhere that says if the selectmen don't fill the role within 6 months, town council has an architect.
That's what we do in the Board of Ed.
Yeah, that kind of,
Maybe that's something that should apply to all boards.
Yeah,
and
it should
commissions.
For the selectmen, the language is what we just approved for the Board of Ed. If the selectmen don't approve, then within a certain period of time.
yeah, but there was another one where we said that they don't do this.
Might be an article.
6 months, 6 months. But, that's an overriding article. The other thing that I added here was that there's no mention about the alternate members. So I added the sentence that said the selectmen shall appoint in the odd numbered year. On or before December the 1st, alternate members of the Inland Wetlands Commission who shall hold office for a term of 2 years. So starting with the odd numbered years and then every 2 years there.
Why would the alternates be 2 years but the regulars?
Because in most other boards, that's the way.
That's exactly right. Board of Finance, for instance, your term as an alternate is less than the term of the regular member.
To answer your question, it's in Article 1, Chapter 3, the Board of Selectmen shall fill appointed positions if the Board of Selectmen fail to fill any appointed positions within 180 days. The town council may fill such vacancies.
Yes, thank you for remembering that we came up with that.
So that's a major reform in section.
Yeah,
So here, you don't have to repeat it, because you're not being governed by section 1. All this does is, as you wanted, you go to 4 years for regular members. We break it up into 2 classes, 2 cohorts. And then there would be a period when a 2-year period would come up, but there'd be nobody to appoint. And then we've made this the alternates to be similar to the Board of Finance. And I believe what P and Z.
I think it's the same.
And then what we did is and then we clarified the roles of the ex officio. So in number 10.3, sentence was added. In addition to the 7 regular members of the Inland Wetlands Commission, first selectman shall be an ex officio member of the Inland Wetlands Commission and shall have no vote except in the case of the tie. The town engineer shall be an ex officio member of the Inland Wetlands Commission and shall have no vote.
and that just reflects what's in the ordinance. Yep,
Well, it's in the ordinance,
it's in the ordinance, yep, no.
but you wanted it here.
I think it's helpful. I mean, it's important in relation to the structure and organization of the commission.
Yeah. And it's in other commissions, so I don't see the harm of adding it.
I'll just mention, just to confirm, planning and zoning, they're on a 3-year term. Which I don't know whether you want in the wetlands to be consistent with that, you're going to 4. You're currently at 2,
Personally, I think the planning and zoning should be 4 years.
and your alternates are 2.
2, okay.
There was some discussion we had about 4-year terms being an impediment for people to sign up for 4 years. From that.
Yeah, we heard that from PhD, right?
We
They
heard it, I don't
that-
remember.
That was, I think they were in favor of the 3-year term.
Good.
I believe, but we could ask them to confirm, but
Yeah,
I'm just wondering, by going to 4 in your case, in the inland wetlands case. Should we try to look for some consistency?
I think that's a good idea, and I mean, my suggestion would be if P and Z stays at 2,
No,
or
they're
goes to 3. If P and Z stays at 3, then maybe this should go to 3.
I have the term here if you want to see them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I looked at that before. Yeah, there's a couple of, we just asked Conservation Commission if they wanted to go higher, they're at 2. And so they're debating it. Who else is at 2? Just read them off, I think there's only 4.
No, just read it. Just read it.
Board of Selectmen is 2,
Right, that's elected,
zoning board of appeals is 2,
that's an elected,
Congress, conservation committee is 2,
they're looking at whether to extend that.
treasurer is 2, town clerk is 2,
Yeah, so everything but,
and board of assessment appeals.
But those are elected.
yeah. And then how about inland wetlands didn't show up as 2 on you?
And we're in wetlands. Is 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. 7 and 3, 7 members and appeals.
Right.
The zoning appeals board is appointed or elected?
That's appointed, that's 2, I believe.
Okay, so there's inland wetlands, P and Z. And the zoning appeals should have similar terms.
Yeah, I would think,
Because because they're land use,
correct,
right?
correct,
And so whatever we decide should apply to all 3.
Do you run the
Whether it's 3 or
risk
4?
of having people that all of them at the same time? I mean, is something to be said, having.
We stagger them.
They are staggered?
Yeah.
Yeah, they would be staggered.
I would be fine with 3.
Well, it takes you up 1 year, so you're happy with that.
Yeah, no, that's right. But what I would like to get away from is this fact that, you know, the terms are so out of date. And it seems to me that there's administrative burden that is just, you know,
Well, I
Well-
think that's another issue that needs to be addressed directly with the
Yeah.
board of selectmen.
Yeah, that needs to be
Yeah,
discussed with the selectmen and yeah, that's, or once we reform the charter, if there's 180 days.
but the charter can't, you know,
you-
no,
fact to
You.
bad behavior, you know, that's a.
And during a public comment, portion of the town council, you say, oh, and incidentally, the 6 months have elapsed, this commission needs to be reappointed.
okay, I mean, I'm fine with it being consistent with the
Yeah.
other land use
Yeah, I mean,
committee.
these are administrative duties that these folks have.
Yeah.
Whether, they like it or.
I have a stupid question, the majority minority discussion.
Yeah.
That it certainly isn't detailed in Article 10. And it's that if that change is made, it would apply to the inland wetlands and all other commissions too, earlier in the document.
Right, but I thought that was going to be an overriding one.
It is.
It's section 1 apply to the entire charter.
That's exactly what I thought too. Okay,
So we
So
talked
that's
about
my
whether or not it
question.
should be repeated in every section. Some people said, yes, good idea, others said that redundant. So
Well-
we haven't come to a conclusion.
okay, that's my question. If it is determined that that needs to be in every section,
Then you're gonna have to cut and paste it into every section.
so and that it would include inland wetlands. Okay.
Yeah, and then you'd have to do it for every commission.
Oh, yeah.
Fabulous, I get to do our city.
I know. So we just the question, my stupid question, and it would apply to you, is the majority discussion on parties. And if it should be repeated in this, or if it's going to be an overriding edit that we'll make in the very front of the document. And the discussion was it isn't determined yet, so we're just holding off if indeed it
I
needs
think it's
to.
gonna be a group discussion, the full commission's discussion. And if it is changed or where the bare majority is introduced, because it's prevalent in every section here where it states minority representation, I would just say it's easy to just replace it to the bare majority representation
Okay.
throughout the document, both in
So,
the front
But
portion.
I think Steve's question was above and beyond the areas where it's already in there, should it then be added to each and every commission so that that sentence is repeated throughout the charter?
And again, where it's repeated anyway, then it would just be replaced.
Yes, in those areas where it's not repeated,
Then you
such
don't-
as in the wetlands.
I see, okay, but I.
So I think the whole commission has to decide, are we
Correct,
going to just have,
yeah,
are we going to have one item in Article 1?
right,
Or are we gonna have one item in Article 1 and a snippet cut and paste throughout the entire charter in every commission?
Yeah, absolutely, but the first decision has to be whether
we're gonna do it.
we like that.
Yeah, but that's up to the, that's a full, group,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the last thing we did was, again, as a result of the conversation with inland wetlands, was to, talk about legislative powers and so on. So we toyed with that last sentence and I wrote, the Inland Wetlands Commission shall have all the legislative and regulatory powers and duties and be subject to the restrictions and limitations as conferred on inland wetlands commissions by the Connecticut General Statutes and as provided in the town ordinance, as from time to time amended.
That's fine with me, but I do think that actually the existing language where it says, inland wetland commissions, it should be inland wetlands commission. I know it's awkward. So I think that got missed in there's a typo in the,
In the original text.
yeah,
Yeah, okay, well, it's just generic inland wetland commission, but you'd want it to read inland wetlands commissions.
yes, but
As it
that's what
applies
the
to-
general statute refers
As it applies to all the towns.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
all that is there.
um,
So those would be the recommended changes to Article 10.
so
Anything else?
do we want to change the recommended change in the term of wetland in the wetlands amendment?
You're the,
That's fine with me to make it, if you want to make 3,
you wanna go 3?
that's fine.
That's an interesting question, for our guests, if you happen to, know offhand. So we're thinking of in certain situations where, this is for appointed bodies, where the term is 2 years, to take it up to 3 years. And I'm not assuming that's gonna happen, you have to take that to the full commissions, it's part of our discussion. The question is that a ballot item? Where that would, is it more of a clarifying or adjusting, or is it just going from 2-year term to a 3-year term for an appointed body? Does that require?
For an appointed body?
Yeah.
I don't know that that's a charter, unless
Oh,
it's.
so it is a
if it's in
charter.
the charter,
The
then.
question is by changing, it's in the
Yeah,
charter,
oh, okay,
by changing it in the charter from 2 to 3,
yeah.
that would be a
It's a change,
ballot
it's a
item.
change.
Well, it'd be there are lots of changes that are just, we say, they kind of fall into a bucket, number 5 on the ballot 10 years ago, we were making some adjustments and so forth.
I would be a bucket, I think.
You think it would be a bucket change?
That's my opinion,
Okay, okay,
initial opinion,
yeah, okay,
Okay.
I think so.
thank you.
Chris, anything else?
Well, would you like,
I'll make the motion as you read it to,
well, no, we still have the open item on.
I just vote.
I wrote it.
Chair.
I wrote 4 years. So
I would suggest it needs to be
3.
consistent with the land use commissions. I think 3 is a good number.
All right, now. As with respect to the Board of Finance, no one complains that they have 4-year terms.
So leave it.
Okay, so you're okay with
Yep,
non-synchronous terms.
right. Because it isn't consistent, I mean, what Joe just read us, there's 2 years, there's 3 years, and there's 4 years.
Yes, what we're thinking about here is all land use commissions would have
Should be
3 years.
consistent.
It should be consistent.
Yeah.
Okay, I will change that to 4 years, from 4 years to 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
So,
And what was the other land use one? Is it the
zoning appeals.
And we're meeting with, I think, is that group 2? I think
That's not group. It's not group 1.
It's-
I think it may.
we're meeting, I think it's group 2, I think we're meeting with them next week, so, okay.
Good,
I
anything else?
don't know if we can vote on this, I guess we could with the caveat that that the word 4 be changed to, that the term be changed from 4 years to 3 years, and then I'll let that change.
But the term is 2.
2,
to,
yeah,
to 3.
Yeah.
that it be turned from 2 to 3, not from 2 to 4.
Anything else?
That's it.
That's the motion. Have you
No,
made?
wait, on type 2, the chair has to call from it.
Joe being too serious.
Really, I think you should make a motion. Just explain.
So I'm gonna exercise the prerogative of the chair.
Oh,
And
okay.
say that no document has been produced on Article 10, there's been a lot of.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
we've heard.
oh, yes, it's right here. My friend, if you would read your materials,
Not all the changes we made just now.
yes, they're all there. The one,
We just made the number of changes.
yeah, the one change being that instead of 4-year terms, we're now talking
Yeah,
about 3.
well, I'm sorry, but I can't approve documents on the fly, and it seemed to me like we made a number of changes.
Well, they were distributed they were copied to you 2 days ago.
Wait, what's that?
But, so, did you not read them?
I have looked at them, but we made a lot of discussion and changes here today.
No, we made one change.
Yeah,
That was, one change to what was submitted to this group.
and has
For
that
consideration.
change been sent to my email?
Oh, that we go from from two to three? No, it has not.
No, okay, so I don't think a clean document has been presented that we can approve, and therefore I think it's premature to call for a vote on this.
I would like to disagree, and I would like to make a motion that we actually move Article 10 to the full CRC with the red line changes in the document that's in the public packet, with the additional change that the term is changed from 2 years to 3 years. That's my motion.
I'll second it since I wrote the thing.
I'll vote in favor of it, so.
Opposed?
Okay.
You guys are much more formal than groups 2 and 3. It's just, you'll get a gold star at the end of the day, but what's both
All right, what's our next agenda item here?
The next agenda item is the town clerk. And who is the leader of that subject?
Well, that is me, and we heard from Claudia yesterday evening, and thank you very much for the very full and thoughtful presentation, and you entertained plenty of our questions. But it seemed as though that there could be some additional questions.
Actually, I would like you to be present because we can't see you on the video.
As curious and member of you.
No, but are you gonna be asking her any questions?
I'm not going to, I'm just, my suggestion is that we need to see if there are additional questions for the town clerk. And I mean, I have one, and that would be to ask the town clerk if there are any changes to the charter that as currently describes your responsibilities and powers that you think ought to be made. We didn't go into that specific detail.
I thought that you were gonna submit some questions to me after. I thought that.
Yeah, okay, if you want to respond now, that's fine.
Yeah.
So on that list, are you preparing a list then?
I will, yep. So I will send
Are there any changes to the town clerk section that this subcommittee wants to make?
well,
Independent of what recommendations may come from the town clerk herself.
this is the question of whether the town clerk should be appointed or elected. I don't know if we're ready to discuss that.
That's
Today.
well, we could discuss it here.
We certainly could, or whether we want to wait until we've had all our questions answered. And I certainly haven't had time to, scrub the language in the town charter since we met. Yesterday evening. So.
Yep, if I may, maybe this can be added to, not part of the discussion here, but on the list of questions I had anyway, and for the whole group. On section, the nice thing is there are only 3 items in the article, so this should be rather easy. The first sentence in 9-2, town clerk and any assistant town clerks shall be paid annual compensation for the town for the performance of their duties, and such compensation shall be in lieu of all fees and other compensation. I guess that I know that the town clerk's position is considered by the town council. I know it goes to the town council, but I don't know that it says that unless it's under the town council's.
It does actually, it says shall be set by the town.
Salary stuff.
Set by the town, okay, and does the town council then take on the salary, annual compensation for the assistant town clerks? I don't know if that happens in practice.
Does not happen in practice.
Okay, so that needs to be validated.
Mm.
Okay. Right, so it says that the town clerk and any assistant town clerks shall be paid annual blah blah blah. but then says the town clerk's salary shall be set by the town council. It doesn't say anything by the assistant town clerks. And it just is, should there be some consistency there?
But the assistant town clerks are town employees.
Yes.
So to the extent that you know, that we don't say anything about other town employees who sets their salaries, presumably it's the executive officer of the department of the town clerk, who is the town clerk.
So.
And the assistant
It's an
clerks
it's an appointment.
are appointed, oh, they're not
The
hired.
no, it's an appointment.
Different story, okay, I stand corrected.
They're appointed by whom? By the town clerk, yeah.
Oh, they're appointed by you.
Correct.
Should that be in the charter perhaps?
Yeah, that should be.
But would the office of the first selectman set the salary, or do you set the salary based off of the?
Comes in a
budget?
budget, comes in a budget, then a present the budget.
Currently, it's set by, sorry.
Alright. We're taking advantage of the presence.
Yeah.
Currently, it is set, the assistants are set by, the HR department.
Any other points?
And the presented.
No,
is your budget. Yes,
Yes,
so the town clerk is one of the officers, the departments that presents a budget to the selectmen and consequently to the board of finance and the town council for approval.
yes, but somebody may be, brought in, outside that.
Yeah, now the salaries of the town clerk and the treasurer though are set by the town council.
Correct.
Do they have to hear from the Board of Finance what those recommendations are, or they decide it separately?
It's decided separately.
Okay.
The town council, the board of finance does discuss the first selectman's salary. But I don't think it initiates it initiates from town council though.
It's in the statutes enacted.
Yes, and the Board of Selectmen is not involved in setting the compensation of the town clerk.
No, because it's in lieu of services, so traditionally for. The town clerks were paid for out of their services, the payments that they received. It changed and the statutes say now the towns have the ability to, in lieu of that. They can take the monies for the services of the town clerk and pay a salary in lieu of. So. If you would like to set it back to a fee-based basis, I would be happy to run the entire office very well.
That's-
You won't have to pay a thing.
That practice is done in third world countries, it's really not the best idea. For anybody who's ever lived in a third world country.
Any other points on the town clerk, Kathleen?
Sorry, I didn't come prepared with all of my list of questions, but if we put on the list, you don't have to respond now, but just on the list. So one was I think the town clerk mentioned last evening that the hours that they serve the town are consistent with the hours served by all the other services that we have for the town. And I don't know if there is a consistency there. I don't know if services start when the office starts, when the building opens and ends when the building ends. And so just asking for, again, you don't have to answer it now, but asking for how are the services provided by the town clerk and the town clerk's office aligned or consistent, and if they're not consistent, why, with those services that are applied to the public for all other services in town hall.
Can you say that again?
Sure. So I might be wrong about this, but I believe the town clerk's office operates on different hours than the rest of the services provided in town hall. And so if that's, if I have that wrong, correct me. If it is consistent and aligned with all the other services that we provide to the public, why is it different? How is it different and why is it different?
Okay.
Very good.
Okay, again, this is not a charter item, but it helps me kind of think about elected versus appointed. One of the comments that we also understand is that we're one of the few towns, I believe, that remain that we don't have land use records online, so we don't provide an online search.
I think I addressed that last night.
I beg your pardon?
I think I addressed that.
You did, yes. So this town clerk addressed that we're one of the few towns that don't have it. And my question is, what's the benefit of having it? I understand that we're probably in the minority of towns that provide those services to the public. In terms of online services, how do other towns deal with the concern about privacy that the town clerk has raised? And you know, is there a means, and I think 10 years ago we might have talked about this too, is there a means now, and now the technology is far greater, whereby those documents that might expose private information can be redacted in an efficient way so that any concerns about privacy are remediated, and then land use records can be made available as a public service. So that's another question I had. Okay. One other, of course, I'm trying to remember what it was, but go ahead. Is there anything else?
Well, what I was going to suggest is actually that I send an email to all members of the CRC asking them to send me any further questions that they'd like put to the town clerk, giving people a pretty short deadline, end of the week. And then I will, you know, pass those on to the town clerk and ask for a response.
Okay.
But I think certainly, you know, these questions are important ones, and maybe other members of the CRC have equally substantive questions.
The primary one is to understand the differences between, and obviously the issue of elected versus appointed is one that's come up. So how do we make sure that we're understanding the pluses and the minuses of each, and we're hearing from a lot of people that are giving us good input. But I'm not convinced one way or the other. And so I want to just sort of get a little bit more information, anyway, just from me, to understand that better.
Let me build on what you're saying. It's important to hear opinions, it's important to hear experiences, but it's also important to have facts. And I would say that in the things that people have brought forward, a lot of them have been experiences and opinions of people saying they ran into somebody in another town that, you know, went to an elected and didn't like it. So I would advocate that we focus on facts that we can identify, and identify as many facts as we can. Certainly the opinions have some value, should be considered, but I think we should really look for facts.
And that's why I'm asking for the facts behind things like just services that the town clerk's office provides relative to other town services that are provided. The facts that I had shared last night were that 10 years ago, where 30 of the Connecticut towns had appointed town clerks, now is up to 72. And of course, what's the trend? Why is that trend taking place? I don't know that I know, but so that's more facts that would, warrant further discovery. That's all. I'm a fact-based person as well.
Is there any further discussion on the town clerk? Does the town clerk wish to say anything?
I just have one observation. It was said last night that one of the risks for appointment is that you'd have someone who is not a resident of the town. I don't think that holds, that should be an issue, because it could be written in the charter that the town clerk, whether appointed or elected, obviously has to be an elector of the town. Full stop. That solves the problem.
Then why not just run for office?
Why not just be appointed?
no separation of power.
I'm not sure I understood your point. You're saying that the town clerk in any situation should be an elected of the town.
Yeah, it should be a resident of the town.
I agree.
No.
I agree.
Well, I think that's a point that will need to be debated because it kind of narrows the talent pool. And my big concern is when Claudia decides she wants to hang up her boots, that it's going to be extremely hard to find someone who is an elector of the town that has the kind of professional qualifications and the experience that's required in an increasingly sort of complex position in town hall.
And two facts that I think, it's certainly a valid opinion, but two facts that would contradict that. One which I made last night, which is all of our selectmen, now not just the first selectman, came to office with no selectman experience. And our previous first selectman before that came to office with no experience.
Well, there's no way to get that experience.
But the fact is they didn't have it. Yes, you could be a selectman and then go to the selectman. You could be considered.
Well, yeah.
You could, that's possible, it is possible, so moving on to my second point, which is this town, as shown in the P O C D, has 80%, I think, over 80% college graduates, 40% with graduate degrees. We are triple the national average in most fields. So I think the facts would argue against the opinion. Just like that, I think.
Just to correct your facts,
Okay.
so there is a situation where the first selectman also served on the board of selectmen, Judy Neville being one, Robin Malazzi.
I didn't go back that far, I only went back to two.
But I'm going back that far because that's, yeah, we know all those
So
people,
they were so.
they were selectmen, moreover,
I just needed ones to prove my point, which was that they weren't.
yeah, but they're certainly.
I think it could be either way.
And the fact is, in 28 years, Claudia has never had an opponent in the general election. So there's not a lot of people with the skill sets that can aspire to be as wonderful as Claudia is.
No, the job's enormous and nobody wants, I mean, that's face. Right, there's some truth to that, right, Claudia?
It's a full-time job.
It's bigger than the first
And
one.
it's a really tough job, at election time, the pot boils over.
Well,
So.
Claudia got the most votes.
They're not,
Yeah, because.
because nobody.
against
But they didn't have to vote.
It doesn't matter, one person votes, you win.
So again, but they're now, yes, it's the same at the first select.
But think of a situation where this became.
Within the Republican Party at the caucus, yes, there has been. But that only suggests that one person occasionally puts up their hand. It doesn't mean that the other party consistently fills that role and consistently challenges it like they do for selectmen and for, well, they don't even do that.
Yeah.
But at least for town council and board of health.
But that's one hypothesis. An alternative hypothesis would be she's doing a great job and nobody wants to challenge her because they like her in that
Well,
job.
here's a fact. I have been involved in trying to find people to run for office
Right.
and also to be on appointed boards. And it has never proved possible to find anybody who wanted to run to be town clerk. That's a fact.
Well, again, but the rationale as to why, I go back to the fact that she's done such a great job, that I wouldn't want to run against her. I have no reason to advocate for change.
We couldn't find anybody that wanted a full-time job at that pay level.
Is there been
Right,
any
that's
position
That's the other
in
thing.
town where we have failed to produce a candidate that wanted to be competitive? I mean, the first selectman's race was not competitive this time around, and even a couple of times back, I think.
Many times, there's no one that runs.
Right. By choice, because there's no case for change.
Well, it's also very limited number of people of the same party that necessarily come out and vote. Even if all the Democrats voted for the Democratic candidate in town council, they wouldn't win.
Well, that's a good.
Well, but they have to, you can appeal to the large middle that is not affiliated
Depends
with one party.
on who the candidate is.
Yeah, well, so I mean, at the end of the day,
It's an appointed
You raise a
position,
great
Matt.
point.
I mean, that's what, I mean, and I said to Connie is, Claudia has dedicated her life to this, and that's really fantastic. And I'm not talking about you, but an elected person necessarily would be, when, this is after, this is 10 years from now, but an elected person might only be willing to serve 2 years.
But
And we need.
On the line of something.
you raise a great point. Did the Democratic Party in the last election unable to find a first selectman candidate or choose not to run a first selectman candidate?
I think no
Unable
one,
to
I
find.
unable to find, nobody's.
Unable to find the
Yeah,
candidate.
and the current selectman did not want to submit herself to another general election.
Okay.
And running for election is tough, it's
I understand.
grueling, it's emotionally draining.
I understand.
And I mean, Claudia herself said it was bad enough when you were challenged in the caucus, was it 3 times over the
But this
last
was
8 years?
this question about whether you have an elected or appointed. Some of the argument that we've made here would suggest that with a great pool of people in this town, you would talent-wise, you should have someone, but who would actually
I would
for
take the
office?
job, could I do the job? Yes, I could. Would I only want the job with maybe a 2-year window? No. Would I want the job where, consistently I'm regarded for performance, I've got some oversight, et cetera? Yeah, that there's a little bit more promise for I'm 27 years old and I'd like to know that I have a chance at a job that I don't have to run for every 2 years. That's sort of what I see the limitation of getting people to run for office is that it's a great job, people are great, working with the public, it's very interesting, but you only have that job, assuming you win, for 2 years, and then you have risk again. No,
So that's a good
gonna go
point,
with that.
but so how does that dovetail with the question of should they be electors of the town?
See,
Oh, should they be electors?
on this point, my opinion is the best qualified people are her assistants right now.
Absolutely right.
And if you put in the qualification that this role needs to be an elected role, you're precluding probably the best qualified people that we could possibly find.
Yeah, but somebody in that role has to have skin in the game in this town. I'm sorry.
I agree with
You
you.
can't have somebody who, drives down from Danbury every day. And, says, God damn, you can't,
Yeah.
because they're getting 40 grand a year.
No,
That's-
but Chris, that we need, if it were appointed, the town would need to recruit someone who was highly professional, who cared about their career, cared about
Well,
their
then that's the
reputation.
employees of the town, just like
I'm
the
sorry?
CFO. Then it's an employee of the town like the CFO.
Well,
And it's not an elected official or an appointed official, it's just an employee.
Well, I think they have to be appointed under state statutes. They
Yeah.
have to actually have appointment of that.
You have to have a town clerk,
Yes.
and it has to be a
It can be higher
political
up.
position.
Elected or appointed.
You can't just say, we're going to put on the same level as the town CFO. Okay, I then go back and say they have to have skin in this town.
well, let me
Yes,
give you
yeah.
another example of somebody who's extremely important to how this town is and is run, but is not required to live in New Canaan, and that's the superintendent of schools. That superintendent of schools, this one and past superintendents of schools really have had skin in the game. They have cared.
Yes,
Yes.
but the difference is that the
How
town-
about our tax assessor? Yeah,
He
said
does not live here.
he does not live here.
and that's an appointed position.
Yeah.
Now, that should be corrected to be a local.
You're not
Sorry.
going to live in.
Sorry, you have to live in, I think if you're serving this town as an officer, you've got to live in this town.
I'd like to suggest that one of, I think, the major point that Claudia made last night in her presentation, I think it's being overshadowed here, is while we're discussing the efficiency and the effectiveness of bringing somebody in to do the job, doing the job requires someone that is in a position to say no, someone that has the integrity to face the challenging situations which go beyond the academic credentials, which I think you've all been correctly highlighted. And when I heard that, I thought that put the highest priority on that you want that integrity, that check and balance to separate from the appointment process. And what do you use? No, you use some very good words about the checks and balances, the local checks and balances. So I think thinking about this, that has to be very high on the value scale. Because if you just go for the efficiency, you'll get somebody in there and they'll do a good job on a lot of things. But when you get to the really big issue about potentially backdating minutes or checks not being signed or different things, then you want someone with integrity. And I think back to somebody with skin in the game, that should be the higher priority than just filling the position. You can always fill a position.
Can I make a possible counterpoint here?
I have a choice to say yes or no.
No, that is my British politeness. Rather than asserting, I would like to speak.
Please, thank you.
I think these matters.
Please.
Okay, so I was thinking about this too. But if you have someone who is subject to elections every 2 years, and someone in a position of power authority in town hall, whether it's the first selectman or someone else, asks the town clerk to do something that he or she shouldn't, and it's an elected office, pressure can be brought to bear. That first selectman can find somebody else to run against the town clerk in less than 2 years, whether if they're the same party through the caucus or if they're different parties through the general election. So whether it's elected or appointed, you're absolutely right. You need someone with backbone and integrity. But most jobs in most professions require that. And we've all had to stand up to authority at some point, and it can be done.
I think you raised a very interesting point that I want to expand on with the 2 year, and Claudia and I had a discussion. The charter actually provides the 2 year term in a very roundabout way. I need to explain this so that you understand we have the option to increase the term up to 6 years. Because the charter says the term of the town clerk shall be as per the general statute. And the general statute says it can be no less than 2 and no more than 6. So we can do 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. We talked about this and she contacted the state election authorities who said in the absence of the town picking a number, it defaults to 2. So we have indirectly defaulted to 2, but if the 2 is a concern, we can make it bigger and we can go up to 6 if we want. And 6 sounds like a good number here, since we seem to all agree that whoever's in there, you want them to have the tenure, to have the career path. And 6 is a big, the only people elected to 6 year terms are senators, US senators.
Yeah, I would not recommend a 6-year term in any municipal. In our town, we don't have anything more than 4.
So we could do 4, and that would, I think, address Angela's point. We could get there within a second.
Not at all.
Or the town council.
Yeah. I mean, it could still happen, even if the term is 4 years, that you get someone putting pressure on an elected town clerk to do X or Y that he or she
Yes, you
should.
could always have that, yeah,
You could always have that,
Always.
and
in any position.
if it's appointed, then there can be pressure too. But it's obviously a role where integrity, professionalism, and care about your own reputation are important, and those are qualities that I think could be met through the selection process.
I've never been afraid to say no to anybody, including bosses, boards of, directors, etc. If you have integrity and you know how to do the job, there should be no fear about saying no. That's your role, that's your responsibility, whether you're elected or whether you're appointed or whether you're an employee. So I understand trying to parse that difference, but I can tell you good people like Claudia and others who have integrity, and that's the person that you want to hire anyway, or appoint or elect, are going to be able to say no when it's necessary.
Good.
And we're lucky to have those people who are in office today. So
You mentioned Bridgegate. What's that?
I thought it was New Jersey, but it sounds like it's okay.
Yeah, forgive me, but that's how we always refer to it.
Yes, that was an integrity issue, wasn't it?
Well, I was involved in
Yeah, I
it,
understand.
but and that was more of a treasurer oversight, where a check was issued, without going through the proper authorities, and it was passed along, so that was a deficiency in
Patrols.
control.
And that was an elected treasurer who did not perform an
It was-
honorary role.
Right,
They
it
was
was,
not performed their.
and that
functions.
role has changed dramatically since that
Right.
time. But there have been other situations,
And to Steve's point on the career path, certainly going to 4 years would provide some relief on that point. If we do that.
I will say, even with town clerks being elected every 2 years, all throughout Fairfield County, I'm sure throughout the state, town clerks generally stay for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's not.
You know the
something that-
function.
But even if they have to be subjected to election, they stay.
Do you have a good point? Do you happen to know what is the average for your peer group? Is it 4 years or?
You mean in terms of the term of office? I think most of them are 2, they're more and more become 4. I don't know.
Should we consider making the position 4? The statute gives us the option.
I think we should.
Well, that's certainly something to consider. I think, you know, the full CRC also has to consider whether it should be an appointed or an elected.
But before we
office.
get to appointed or elected, there seems to be 2 points that I think we have some agreement on, which is making the town clerk an elector of the town and considering the position for 4 years. That would begin to add.
My dissent on being an elector of the town, I think that it constrains the talent pool too much, whether
If
it
it's an elected position, it should be elected.
there has to be an elector, but if it's an appointed position, I would not be in favour.
It is an elected position, so
But I would dissent on the town clerk not being, in fact, I would dissent on all positions not being electors to the town.
Well, my suggestion
Unless
is,
they're employees, that's a different story.
my suggestion is, we've had a very good discussion here, but we obviously have additional questions that we want to put to the town clerk, that we kind of rest the matter here for now. We get those questions and then we come back and see whether as a subgroup, we're able to reach agreement, and if we're not, what the next steps are. It might just be to escalate the discussion straight away to the full CRC.
So are we entertaining the possibility that Claudia may come back at some point? Is that what
To
we're
good to us.
to discuss the newer question?
Well, I was hoping she could provide in writing answers.
No, I think that'd be a lot easier.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
We could invite her back, and I think we could
Give her the
ask her to send us the answers so we can share them with everybody.
And also, if you would be kind enough to share us
That was work.
Yes.
your comments from last night, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so let's gather the questions
yeah.
from the broader commission. Let's send them over to Claudia, and then let's see what comes back to us in written form.
Yeah.
And then we can decide what we do next.
Will we, as a group 1, review the questions and agree on them before they get sent to Claudia?
I don't see any.
I do. I'd like to see.
Well, I don't think I want to in any way censor
I didn't say censor, I asked to see.
contributions from
I
the
know in I
CRC.
added some suggestions for censor. I
Well,
think it's a little unfriendly. So you will conduct your own private questions for the town clerk.
well, I will invite questions.
Yeah.
But I will
share
the
questions with everybody.
But that's what I'm saying, are you gonna share them with everyone before we?
Yeah. Oh, well, at the same, yeah, I can.
So
share.
I think what she's proposing to do is she's going to ask all the commissioners of the commission broadly to submit through her
Right.
questions for Claudia. So she's the funnel
Right.
for questions from the 11 of us.
Right.
Correct.
So you're just gonna take the questions that they send in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. I didn't understand.
We trust all the commissioners.
I did not understand.
And, you know, they're allowed to ask whatever question they want
They can
to ask.
say anything they want.
You
You know,
know,
we're not gonna censor anything.
No.
Then remove
I
myself.
you're going to remove yourself from the hot seat.
You wanna be on the CRT?
I'm gonna still
Glad
listen.
I found you.
So have we come to closure on Article 19, the town clerk,
For today.
for today?
Yes.
That moves us to line item 6 on our agenda, charter review, Article 4, town council.
I'm the lead on that. I propose not to submit any changes to Article 4 as written.
I'm sorry, are we doing item 6?
Town council,
Oh,
item 6.
item 6, I thought that was, I looked at the wrong thing here. February, oh yes, I see what, sorry, my mistake. My mistake.
Mr. Chair.
Oh. Yes, Kathleen.
Thank you. I will say, I did have a conversation, finally, with the Board of Finance Chair. And this morning, and we went through Article 5, because we've gotten different pieces of information, so we went through Article 5. And he raised, the opposing view on whether or not on section, let's see, do I have the right one? C4-12, method of approving appropriations. And, you know, we've heard differences of opinion here, whether or not, the town council would like to, add the ability to increase, so approve is for reduce. And in some cases, I didn't hear a consensus, but I think there were a number of people who said we'd like to consider the increase as well. From the Board of Finance, and especially the chair, they're opposed to that. And so I have recommended that the members of the town council and the members of maybe the chair of the town council, the chair of the Board of Finance really come together. We can't adjudicate how people feel about, you know, whether or not this particular issue is of value to the town council and Board of Finance. Board of Finance might feel like it's a usurping power that the Board of Finance has, et cetera. So I would propose that they work that out and they come to some agreement as to whether or not that's a provision that they'd like to see collectively. Board of Finance appointed, town council elected, work that out between them, come back and advise as to whether or not that's something that they'd like to see. And I'm agnostic as the other members were. And but I do feel that there are strong opinions on both sides and I'd like them to work it out. I don't know that that's our role to work that out. But so
Well,
anyway,
it's in the charter.
it's in the charter now, right? So and to your point, you want to keep it the way it is.
I see
Yeah.
no reason to change.
As does your chair. And we have, I don't know what the chairs of the town council thinks, we haven't heard from him yet.
Well, the interesting thing is that I think universally the Board of Finance is against it. The
Yeah.
town council, however, is split.
It's
Not
not
everybody wants that power.
Right.
Because
the
then
prospect to it.
because then the town council is responsible for the mill. At the end of the day.
Why is that?
Well, because if they raise the budget,
Oh, yeah,
they're gonna raise the mill rate.
Yeah.
Whereas now they can turn around and say, well, it's Board of Finance.
Right.
And there's not a politician in the world that doesn't wanna be held unresponsible for tax increases. So one, it's a protection. But there's another thing about this town council request. Of all the people that we have interviewed, all the boards, all the commissions, all the committees, all the authorities, all the members who currently serve on them, everybody who previously served on these things, there is only one group that wants more authority, more control, and more power. And that to me says, not good.
I'd like to support his position. And I think this is one of the most dangerous things that we're playing with in the charter. Because it opens up the whole concept of pork barrel legislation. And everything will become trading. It's just the nature of our political system at the
Yeah.
federal level and at the state level. And I think of all the mistakes we could make, this would be one of the bigger.
Yeah, and we talk about the ability, the responsibility for saying no, while the Board of Finance says a lot of no's.
I'm absolutely.
Middle name?
Now,
And it's not fun because everybody has a good reason
Well, and
to
that's
come,
the
and we
point,
have to make decisions.
that's the point for your chair.
And we have three
Don't throw that
things,
word.
we have a lot of things to balance. We have the amount of taxes to be, the amount of money to be raised from taxation. The amount of debt that the town can prudently assume. That the requirements, that the town residents have for having a beautiful town that functions well, that has a great school system, beautiful parks, good roads, all these things that they want. How much does it cost? How can we keep that cost under control? And how do we pay this? Do we pay for it through taxation, some of it directly? But some of these things are long-term. And so the current residents shouldn't have to pay for assets that will last 20 years. So they're bonding them makes sense because now you're spreading the cost of buildings and even fire engines that last 20 years across several generations of residents. And so all these things have to be balanced. And there's a lot of you've really got to dig in the numbers, and there's a lot of no's that get said that said we just can't do everything.
And if you look at, just one second, if you look at the process, the town council actually has a degree of control because they can reject the budget
Correct.
and send it back and say, we're not going to approve it until you make some change.
Correct.
And then I think a healthy negotiation would take place.
Yeah.
And
So, I mean, Chris, I think you make some very strong points. I haven't reached a conclusion on this, but I must say that I am open to arguments that the legislative branch should have more of a say on budgetary matters. That's not to say that I'm in favour of changing the charter, but I am open to hearing all arguments on this.
Chris?
My position is to support Chris's proposition, and the reason is that there's always the chance of special appropriations. Your example that we've heard from COVID is compelling. Anyone on the town council can always make a special an argument for a special appropriation. I just think starting to change this could absolutely get us into.
And there was an example that was presented last night about a situation where something had been removed from the school budget.
$25,000.
Yeah, actually, that's a story which is more complicated than the time. The amount of time that was given to it last night. What happened was that the Department of Human Services and the Board of Ed provided counselors to the middle school and the high school. These were contracted to an outside firm that provides counselors. During the budget process, it came to the attention of the Board of Finance that one of the positions had not been filled for 4 months. Nobody had reported this to the town. The town was paying the not-for-profit that provided the service for a service that was not being provided. So the decision was made at the Board of Finance level to say no to that particular request. The Human Resources Department appealed it and came back and said, no, we want this in our budget. And we said no, because there is this discrepancy. So the Board of Finance recommended that the Department of Human Resources, the Human Services and the Board of Ed work out the procedure. And towards the end of the budget process, they came back and said, we've reached a solution. And the solution was that the Board of Ed would take one of the positions in-house and fill it as part of their staffing. And the other position would be provided externally, but now there would be more rigorous control over the not-for-profit that was providing this. And so, yes, at the end of the day, the money was moved around within the budget. It is true, but it wasn't exactly a no just to say no.
Therefore, I make a motion that we accept Chris's recommendation to go forward on the tenth, I'm sorry.
Well, actually, I wanted to bring up something else that possibly could cause us
Before
to
we
be
make the
something
motion,
else.
please.
And that is, we've had some discussion about how outdated a number of ordinances are. I just wonder if we should add something to the town charter that would increase the responsibility of the town council to look at ordinances, review them on a regular basis. But it's just an idea.
That's
Again, it's hard to regulate behavior, It's, that is good practice,
you shall do your job.
There are 67, I mean, there's a lot of ordinances, it's a big project to do that, and then.
We will strongly encourage it, if
Yeah.
we get the report,
Right.
and we'll identify those that we see need to be updated.
And it wouldn't be such a big job had they been doing this.
One of the they say is that they give it to the newly elected.
Oh.
Town council, those are the least capable people to do it, not because they're not capable as individuals, because they have no experience.
Yeah.
They're coming on there for the
This
first
is
time.
the perfect intern.
And yeah, the job is the senior people ought to be the heads of those
They should just-
ordinance review, because they've had longevity, they've had experience, they dealt with the town, they understand it.
1 month at a time, every meeting, take one ordinance, do the work that we're doing on the charter, but do it for the.
Yeah, it takes them 5 years to go through it, then 5 years.
Participating as, San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge, you have to keep.
Yeah, you gotta pay one pillar at a time, keep on doing this. But yeah, I mean, there are ways to just address it, and it might take a 5-year cycle to do it, but okay, fine, then you start over again.
We just.
It's like paving the roads in New Canaan, we have a 20-year program for doing it. Well, we've just kind of come to the end of the 20 years, and now we're gonna re-up again for another 20.
Angela, we all agree with you.
So I'd like to make a motion that we approve Chris's recommendation to leave the town council article 4 as is.
Well, as the author, I will say, I second
A
it.
second, all in favor?
Uh,
And I will continue to ensure that again, peace among us is found and that the board of finance, the town council work that out. So.
Yeah.
Would you abstain, Angela?
I think I will. Yeah, I will. I mean, as I say, I haven't made up my mind, and you've made some extremely strong arguments, but I'm not opposed to it. I think it should be moved to the full CRC, so I'll abstain.
Well, this all goes up to the full CRC.
Right.
So
But it
we
doesn't have to be universal.
Yeah.
we have 3 votes in favor and 1 abstention.
Yeah.
So it passes this group.
That brings us to, if we're done with the town council, that brings us to line item 7, future group wide interviews and agendas. Anybody have thoughts? I know the planning and zoning is one of the groups that Andrew, you mentioned.
Well, actually, I would have liked to have had it on the agenda, so we could just talk about where we got to in that process and what the thoughts are for bringing somebody to this group, for us to discuss.
Well, we can discuss anybody we want to bring to this group. I mean, under interviews and agendas.
Well, let's do it. I mean, what is the plan, Joe?
The plan is to, I think, invite whoever has not come, and it's not my responsibility solely, it's our responsibility, but. If you look at planning and zoning, they provided, I think, 3 commissioners. That spoke, 2 in the group session and 1 Mr. Engel separately. So I think we should extend an invitation to planning and zoning to the 6 commissioners that have not appeared, and just give them that opportunity. I think that would be important.
What I assume they've been represented by those that came forward.
They did in the sense that they all signed.
They all signed the letter.
The letter.
Yeah.
Well, if we want to accept that, then
I mean, we could make the invitation, but
right.
They
I
don't-
don't think you're gonna hear anything new.
What we need to do
We don't-
is to put on the next agenda discussion of the PNCR.
Yeah.
Well, we should have, well, unfortunately, we didn't have it on here, but we'll put it on for the next one. And we've done a lot of work, haven't we? Of course, you know, we've kind of, you know, 1's done, 7 is done, 10 is done. 19's up in the air, 4 is done, so, you know,
You kind of love, I'm ready to have you guys bring it up to the full commission,
Bring one up.
the work you've done.
Work it up.
And we can talk about PNC next
Yeah.
year.
Okay,
Okay.
And we've asked.
And maybe that's all there is, it's, you know, we're.
well, parking is gonna go into
Oh,
March.
parking, yeah, we need to.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, where do we stand with parking?
We're,
I'm doing homework.
yeah.
Well, that's right.
She's doing all, and I'm gonna,
Oh, yes.
I can't meet with them next week,
Yeah,
so it's gonna be the week
yeah,
after,
okay.
so I'm gonna meet.
So we won't, so let's not even put it on the agenda for next week, because that's just.
Well, the only.
Well, no, this will be
Just
talked
in case.
Just in case, we can
Yeah.
talk about it. So that's one of two things, we'll have parking, I forget the article number, and PNC.
Yeah. And I'm sorry.
No, I just have one question. Is there anything that this group needs further questions with our legal counsel?
No, I would just ask that the legal counsel said they were following up with the town clerk on discussion of the logo. And is that conversation going on?
It's still going on.
It's still going on.
Well,
And what's the question,
He was
whether or not
asking
the
for,
logo is synonymous with a seal?
He wants to know the history of both.
Okay.
So,
The question is the logo gonna be treated like a seal or treated separate? If it's treated like a seal, then it would reside with Florida, if it's separate, it would go somewhere else.
there's no reason that it can't reside with the town clerk, even if it's a logo, right? I mean, I don't think.
Yeah, we.
I think it's fine where it is, it's just whether or not it needs to be codified in the charter. And I think for sure, the seal should be, because it's referenced throughout the charter in terms of being a legal.
It's a statute.
Yeah, and it has to say seal.
Yeah, it's very specific, there's no specificity from Connecticut state statutes on the logo, that can be what.
Could you have two logos? I mean, two seals,
Yes.
okay, so maybe.
Wait, say that again, why would you have two seals?
well, meaning could the logo be considered a seal?
Forgetting the logo.
Yeah, could we,
Can the seal itself, the town seal.
The
which is
town
under-
seal legally,
Okay, and that's under Connecticut state statutes, it's in our charter.
so then the question is, do we protect the logo?
And or should it be picked up under, you know, I think where it sits is perfect. And you've told us already that if you ever got a question, you
right?
coordinate with the first selectman or the board.
It seems to be well protected, the question is, where do we codify it?
Well, once you stick it in the charter, if suddenly somebody says, let's have a contest of, you know, middle school, because who could come up with an interesting logo representing our town?
That's a very good question, we should.
It doesn't.
Do we want to
change?
do we want to change something that's been associated with town for?
Yeah, I think that's for the town to decide, if you put it in the charter.
So it shouldn't be up to like the school to decide to have.
Well, they had a contest, haven't
I
they?
believe that's where the tree came from.
Well,
Yeah, it's a contest.
yeah, wait,
And they did another contest later on, and there were some really nice seals that were proposed, but
nobody,
nothing around.
that's right. Oh, I see your point, all right, well, okay, so.
Well, that's a good question, whose authority is it to change the seal?
Seal, no way, that's.
not sure.
Or appeal, no.
Well, no, the
Logo.
The statute says the town shall have to provide a seal, it
So
doesn't
it's-
say how the town.
We have a seal, and there's one
It's a
question.
very nice legal seal, I think.
Yeah, we have a legal seal, it says seal, it's fine.
Right.
Now the question is, that we have a logo, good point, could be changed, might want to be changed at some point, modified, any kinds of things. And it's currently, if we know where it is, it's well housed, it's protected, so on. So the question comes back to where do we codify this? We codify it in the charter or as an ordinance?
Or bylaw,
Or a bylaw of the town?
or best practice, yeah.
Right now, I think what Nick Ramonti said was that it was okay to protect it and say it was for official use.
But it didn't say it had to be in the charter.
Well,
But it doesn't have to be in the charter.
It doesn't have to be in the charter.
The logo, because Kathy, because once it's in the charter 10 years ago.
No, I'm talking about the seal. You said that protecting the seal, that could go into charter, say.
For sure.
Yeah. Because is there any possibility that we would allow the seal to be used for non-official
It's a,
purposes?
it's a,
Right.
it's like a notary.
So putting that in, we'll agree on. And then the
It's in
question.
there now, right? But if you want to add some language,
Excuse
the
me?
town seal is in there.
It's in
It's
section
the
one.
common
Yeah,
seal.
absolutely, right, we have it. But right now, we have it with, the logo right now is riding with it, the way it's written.
Yeah,
I mean, I can
I'll
change
let you
that.
come with your recommendations, but I don't think I think it locks in something that can be.
But when we-
Live outside the charter.
If we get new information between now and next week, we will react to that new information and put it in.
What kind of information are you?
From Nick is speaking with Claudia.
So he said he has a call into you and he's waiting to hear back. from you.
Right.
Okay.
So
What
that's,
are you gonna say to our legal counsel that's?
I haven't finished my research.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
if that becomes available, we will tell people, but if not, we'll caveat it and say there's a piece of this that is still up in flux, up in change.
I would say though, whatever your research is going to be, it's quite clear that it's not the legal seal that's required in the United States statutes, but it does represent our logo. And the way you handled it, which I think is perfectly fine, is something that you might want to codify. You might want to make that recommendation to the town, whether it's a bylaw, ordinance, or best practice.
Or any official seal of the town.
Official seals are the in the
There's only one
Wow.
official.
Seal, yeah.
just one. You can't have two.
The other towns, and I have two here, West Hartford and Westport, have their seal and they have their logo. And the logo is a distinct piece of artwork that could never be mistaken for a seal. We made our logo look like a seal, and therein lies the problem. If we had a picture of the lighthouse for the library.
We made our logo look like what you see on the DPW trucks.
Yeah.
That's the logo. And the fact that we made a nice gold thing on it.
I'll tell you, I think DPW would probably say, oh my God, don't make us have to repaint the trucks, you know, how much that's gonna cost.
I think we better put on the agenda for next year,
Sure.
just in case we have new
Yeah, let's put it on,
information.
just put it on there, if we get to it, good, if we don't.
Yeah.
get to it.
So right now I have 3 items for next week, the seal, planning and zoning, which is really gonna be the appointed versus elected discussion. And the parking commission,
If we get to.
Just in case.
So 3 articles, so.
three items for next week. Does anybody want to put in some elastic section of other business just in case something?
I don't think we can, I tried that, Chris told me that.
Can't
We
do
won't
that,
do that.
with a special meeting.
So we have
What you
interviewed,
say is what you do.
we have interviewed all of the people that are operative in the groups and the articles that have been assigned to us. That,
Right.
that's it.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Okay.
So I was going, as we've been taking in turns to do agendas and minutes, I was gonna offer to do the agenda for next week and to do the minutes for next week.
All right.
Very, very gracious offer, but before we get there, I have one question, which is sewer board and commissions.
That was me.
That was you. Where does that fit? Have we? And
That was going to be brought up as a point to the full commission.
So
Yeah.
I could add some color there. I did speak to the chair of the Board of Finance. And his position is it's fine where it is. Now, there's been some question raised by people about the engineering questions that come up with respect to sewer usage. And as Todd Lavieri has suggested to me, they feel that they're working with the town engineers and the consultants to the town engineers, that they felt that they had enough information to make a decision on past requirements. And so he's comfortable with where it stands now, and that's within Article 5. And so I had suggested other, how does he feel about that portion moving to, for instance, Utilities Commission or moving to something else? It used to be its own commission. back in the day, and his position is that it's fine where it is.
Have we interviewed anybody with sewer responsibility?
So we're going to be interviewing Public Works, and they have that responsibility for maintaining sewer, water, etc. So that's coming up into group 2.
You know, we should probably put this water thing on our agenda for next week, for the
Yeah.
simple fact that at next week's meeting, what we will do is we will discuss pushing it on to the full board with no recommendations.
Okay,
Yeah.
We can't do that now, it's not anything,
okay.
but that would be presumably what we would do.
Yeah.
I think still the full board needs to discuss this.
Yeah,
Fine,
I don't 100% agree with Todd,
that's fine.
but I think that I do have some concerns, so we'll talk about that in the full board.
Sure.
at one point, there was a discussion on possibly making it part of the utilities commission.
Right,
And
but that was where we wanted to get,
so
Yeah,
we have 4 items for next week: the seal, planning and zoning, parking, and sewer. And so I pose a question to the group, because this is very important. Do you want planning and zoning to be the first or the last item on the agenda?
First,
First.
because we haven't spent much time on that. I would also just wanted to say,
no, first.
First, okay.
I just wanted to say that, I believe, I recall that we agreed that what came out of our discussion on the general theme of appointments versus elected was the idea of maybe it would be a good idea on appointed boards just to have a bare majority and no more from one political party. We took the decision to elevate that discussion, move it on to the full CRC. So I don't see a need to put that on the agenda for next week unless anyone wanted to add anything.
Let me feedback what I think we agreed to, and if we're okay, I agreed and we voted on that specifically to advance it,
Yes.
but not to advance it with the endorsement that I agreed with it. We're just advancing. it.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
yeah, that's all we're doing.
That's fine. So we have 4 items: planning and zoning, the seal, and parking. And the sewer. And I think we'll stay with the tradition. I'll manage posting the minutes and posting the agendas.
No, I'll do the agenda, I can do the agenda and minutes for next week.
No, I'm chairing the meeting, I think, next week.
Are you?
Well,
Oh,
planning
okay,
and zoning is one. If
okay.
we wanna,
Oh, fine, good.
if we wanna
Yeah.
move the chair. Anybody unhappy? Well, I'd like to-
No,
is
no,
all it all?
no.
Can I-
well, there sure is a bit off the crack.
Chair has to go to Brad. The chair supported a lot of your motions tonight.
I know, but
I have to shove them 4 over the goal.
no, I know, but ruling for the chair.
Just
Anyway, feedback to the chair.
Sharply courteous at this point, but we've tended to go with the person that had sort of the key
Yeah.
subject
No,
matter.
I was volunteering just because I thought it was probably my turn, you know, so I'm very happy not to do it.
Joe's the one that keeps us honest, so that's fine.
Yeah, great, good.
And can I have a motion to adjourn?
Yay.
Thank you.
Can we go home, please? Okay. And I stopped recording by just oops,
Just
Yeah.
hit record,
stop recording.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.